now that you've had the overview, let's go ahead and dive into the email, and we're going to go ahead and cover the email basics. Now, email's been around for quite some time, and many of you are quite familiar with email and how to use email, but we thought it would be beneficial to review some of the email basics or some of the things that you might not have known about, and to specifically cover some of the email nuances that are specific to Gaggle email. So we're going to go ahead and begin this process by looking at the inbox. So if you don't have the mail accessed here, go ahead and click on the mail button here so that you can see all the email folders, and click on your inbox so that you can see the inbox over here. And if you are new to Gaggle, you might not have any messages, like this account doesn't have any messages here. Don't worry about that. Eventually you will have more messages than you can do with. Now, the very first button that you see here is the check mail button. Now, that button is there because Gaggle doesn't always deliver the email to you instantaneously the moment it's received. It holds it in sort of a little holder or cache, and then about every 15 to 20 minutes it populates your inbox with new messages that you've received. So it doesn't always happen that you're getting the messages as they come. So if you're a little bit impatient and you want to see if you have the latest email message, you can go ahead and click on the check mail, and what it will do is it will force Gaggle to go and search the email that's got held for you and then delivered into your inbox. It's kind of like going to the post office and telling them, please, I need my email delivered now. So that's what the check mail button is for. Now, most of the time you're going to be using the compose button, and this is where you will begin to compose an email message that you're going to send to someone. So let's go ahead and click on the compose button right here. When you click the compose button, there are several buttons up here that we will be using throughout this training, and I'll cover them as we go through them. But the very first thing you're taken to is the to field, and the to field is where you will enter the email address of the recipient who's going to be receiving the message. So if you know their email address, you can just go ahead and type it right away. Just like that. Now, if you don't know their email address and you're not sure how it begins, what you can do is, I'm going to go ahead and erase this here. What you can do is you can access the district address book. Now, to access the district address book, you're going to click on this to button right here. When you click on that, it will open up the contacts address book, and the very first thing you will see is your contacts. Now, currently you don't have any contacts in your address book. This is the first time you're accessing Gaggle, so you shouldn't have anything here. But if you do, that's okay. We'll walk through adding contacts in future videos. In the meantime, if you want to access other address books throughout the district, come up here and click on this pull-down menu where you see My Contacts. If you click on that, you will see that there are address books divided by campus right in here. So you'll see all the campuses within the district, and if you know that a teacher is within a particular campus, you can go over and you can click on that campus, and it will show you all the teachers' addresses for that campus. Now, let's say I'm going to send it to someone at the district offices. I can come here to the district office and I can click here, and I will get the list of all the administrators here at the district office that have an email set up through Gaggle. Now, if they've never logged into Gaggle or never accessed their Gaggle account, chances are they might not appear here, but usually they are all appearing here. Let's go ahead and look at a campus, for example. Let's see Cedar Grove here. Cedar Grove, these are all the teachers at Cedar Grove that have an email address here. So you can go and scroll through here and you can find a teacher whom you would like to send an email to. So let me go back to the district office here, and I'm just going to go ahead and find someone here at the district office that I can send an email to, and I'm going to go ahead and select here Kathy Chavez. I'm going to go ahead and click on her name, and then I'm going to click the to button down here at the bottom. And what that will do is it will get her email address and populate it in here. And what it will do is it'll place a comma at the end of that email just in case I want to add another email recipient. So if I want to add another email recipient, I can go ahead and do so by scrolling down and perhaps finding someone else that I want to send an email to. Let me go ahead and send my an email here also to Shelly Smallwood. So I'm going to click on her name once and then click the To button, and it will append her email address to that previous email address. Now, if you want to stay here, you can also fill in the information for the CC, and CC stands for carbon copy. That takes you back to the old days where you had to place a piece of carbon paper between two sheets of paper so you can make a copy of something. Yes, that takes us back to the old days for those of you that remember. And you can click on carbon copy, and what that means is that the primary recipients are here, and the carbon copy is someone whom you want to send this message to, but it's not specifically for them. You just want to inform them that you've sent this email to everyone else so that they're aware of the process that you've sent an email to someone else. So when would you use a carbon copy? So let's say that you work in an office situation where you need to send email to a lot of people, and you want to send that and to everyone at a campus. Those would be your primary recipients. Now, a carbon copy would be sent to your administrator so that your administrator knows that you've sent that email to all the primary recipients in the To field. So the carbon copy would be a copy sent to someone else so that they know that you've already sent the message out to them. That's what a carbon copy would be like. So let's say I want to send a carbon copy of what I've sent here over to Micha Villarreal, who happens to be my boss, so that she knows that I've sent an email to these two individuals and letting them know about the message. And I can do that too. The third field here is the blind carbon copy, which is BCC. Now, blind carbon copy is a specific field where the recipients in the To field and in the carbon copy field will not see the email address of the blind carbon copy person. Now, why would you want to have a blind carbon copy? Well, it could be possible that someone doesn't want their email address to be known out there. They don't want other people to know what their email address is. They don't want to have other people know that they've received a copy of the email that was sent to everyone else. So you can place them in this field, and their email address will be hidden from the primary recipients in the To field and the recipients in the carbon copy field. So let's say that I want to send Lorena Olmos here a blind carbon copy. So she will be emailed a carbon copy of this email message, but nobody in the other recipient, the primary recipient or the carbon copy recipient, will know that Lorena also received a copy of the message because they won't see her email in there. Blind carbon copy is not often used, but I want to make sure that you're aware of the blind carbon copy and what a blind carbon copy is. Okay, so now I filled in the email address to the primary recipients, a carbon copy to Micha here, and a blind carbon copy to Lorena. So I'm ready here. I've addressed my email message to all the people that I want to have received this message. I'm just going to click the OK button. When I click the OK button, you'll see that up here, the email address of the primary recipients is shown here on the To field. The carbon copy recipients are shown here, and the blind carbon copy recipients are shown here. I can continue to add other email messages later on if I want to. All I need to do is click in here and then click on the BCC, the To, or the carbon copy here, and I can go back to the address book and I can add someone else to the carbon copy. So if I want to, I can come back in here, find someone at another campus, click on their name and add them to the carbon copy if I want to, or the blind carbon copy, and click OK, and those individuals will be updated within here. Now I want you to notice, because I left the blind carbon copy blank earlier, it gets taken off, and that's because it's a blind carbon copy. So in case you didn't want to include those people in the blind carbon copy, it gets automatically erased. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. In case you do decide to change the recipient's information or whom you are addressing this information to, that the blind carbon copy will be erased. So make sure that you include the blind carbon copy recipient again if you are going to include that in your message. But more often than not, you're not going to do that. Now, if you have a long list of recipients, you will notice over here in the right-hand corner these little ridges, And if you hover your mouse over here on the right hand corner, you'll be able to click and drag down and across to either hide or show more of the recipients that are listed here. Okay, so that's what those ridges are there for. Okay, now once you selected all your recipients within these fields, the next major important thing is to have your subject filled in. Now the subject is very important. A lot of people forget to add the subject, and the subject is that catchphrase that will let people know what the message is about and whether it's important or not for them to read it. So the more catchy you place your subject here, the more likely it is that people will read your message. So if you place something like this is a boring message, then no one's going to want to read your boring message. So what you want to do is you may want to place something in here like, you are a winner. How many of us have opened up those email messages? No. What you're going to want to do is come in here and put in a subject that has something to do with the email message that you're sending to these people. So these are the important budget figures for this year. Okay, and down here at the bottom in this big old white space is where you would begin to just compose your email message to the recipients. Now you have some basic tools available here to you. You can bold, italicize, you can underline, and you can strike through text. I would highly encourage that you stay away from underlining, because whenever you see underlining in an email or in a web page, people want to click on it because it's usually a hyperlink. So stay away from that. You have other tools available to you that you can use to emphasize your text. You can do lists, numbered lists, bulleted lists. You can indent or outdent your text. You can left justify, right justify, center, full justify your text within here. You can even add links, spell check. You can insert a file from the digital locker, and we'll cover that in a future video. You can change the color of the text here, the foreground color, and you can also change the background color of the text in here. So you have quite a few tools available to you here. They're very similar to basic word processing tools, so I won't go too much into those because they're pretty much self-explanatory. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how you can begin to address your email message to the different individuals. I want to cover the carbon copy field, and I want to cover the blind carbon copy field and discuss what that is, and I want to cover the subject field here. So once you have all your information in here, you're ready to go ahead and press the send button. The moment you send that, it will send the email out to all the recipients, and you're done. And what it will then do is place a copy in your sent folder in here. Now, if you're not done with your email message and you're not ready to have it sent off, you can go ahead and click on the Save Draft button, and what this will do is it will save it within your drafts folder right over here, and then you come back later on in a future date and finish composing your email message and send it off.